This is a reminder, Class Connect sessions are recorded and distributed for learning purposes that are listed here. As always, be respectful, appropriate, and participate, but please do not share personal information during the class session for your own security reasons. Make sure, again, this respectful part, using our tools respectfully, making sure that we are staying on track in class. That's really important to make sure that we have a positive class culture. So let's work together. Let's make sure that we have the best class that we can have. So at this point, guys, everybody, you should have your attendance ticket open. For those of you that are in the class, the ticket is in the chat box along with the password. Remember, I only provide the password in class, so if you're watching the recording, because this is being recorded right now, the password will not be in the recording. It is only in the live class. Smiley faces, those of you in class, if that makes sense. The password is provided in live class. You got to make sure you're here just because it is 10% of your grade, and this is the only way I can regulate to make sure you're actually coming to class. Love it. If you guys ever do need to miss a class, like for a doctor's appointment or for work or something, please let me know. We can work something out, but that's definitely, you need to make sure you reach out to me about that stuff, okay? So here is my contact information. Remember the email button, there is an email button on your course page, so that's probably the easiest way to do that, just because my email is ridiculously long and cumbersome. But you do want to make sure you also have my phone number. It is also in the announcements, so you can find it, but just make sure have my phone number. If you need to quickly send a call or a text, that's the info right there. Yep, no worries, Mikey. I will make sure I get back to that as soon as we're done with class. All right, and please remember that you do get 5 attempts on every assignment. So if you're looking at your grades and you're like, Miss Larkin, why do I already have a bad grade? How can I fix that? Don't even worry, you do get more than 1 attempt. You'll get your highest attempt. So if you fail something, just retry it. Make sure you use the videos. All the answers are in the videos. Taking a look at today, we do have our first quiz for today. It's super easy. It's 3 questions. So we're going to knock it out of the park. We're going to do awesome today. Today we are talking about the nature of matter. So some quick announcements. Remember, guys, I'm trying to emphasize this all quarter long. You really need to make sure you're doing both your labs and your quizzes. Together, these count as 65% of your grade, so they're super important. It's impossible to pass if you're not doing both of these. Okay, so make sure you're getting these done. One other thing is you got to make sure you do your STAR 360. Give me a thumbs up if you've already done your STAR 360. I know a ton of you already have. Love it, seeing all those thumbs up. Perfect. You guys are so on top of it. Remember, it's 50 points. It's a huge grade, right? It's 10% of your overall grade. You do complete it every single quarter, and you need to make sure you do both math and reading. Yep, we have to do it every single quarter, Money Mike. Good question, every quarter, okay? It's to check how you are progressing in your course. Rach, if you want to know your specific score, that's totally fine. Just email me. I can figure that out for you. For the most part, it's for the teachers to track how you're doing. It's not really like a grade thing. You just need to make sure you complete it. So you get your 50 points as long as you complete it, okay? Please make sure, still try to do your best. The way that you perform on it does affect the number of required lessons that, live sessions that you have. So if you do really poorly on it, you're going to have to come to more classes. If you do really well on it, you have to come to less classes. Thumbs up if that makes sense. I feel like you guys were all here last quarter. I've always called him Money Mike, but yeah. Perfect. Okay. All the directions are here for you. There's the website. You do need to know your student ID to get your username and your password. This is actually all in an email that's been sent to you. All right. So just make sure, look at the email, get it done. Okay. Cool, guys. All right, so we are looking at Unit 1, which is the nature of matter. We're examining how matter is classified. We're talking about energy, we're talking about viscosity, and we will also have our first lab next week. Okay, so today we have a super easy lesson objective. We just need to be able to define these few things. So we need to know what matter is, atoms, molecules, and elements. And again, our quiz today, we're going to try to make sure we get 80% or higher. That's always our goal. We always want to do well. So 80% or higher is what I think we're doing well. And it's only 3 questions, so super easy. Okay? So what we're going to take a look at today, here's our mind map. Matter is anything with mass. It's composed of what are called atoms. And we're going to see a little bit later, they have both physical and chemical properties. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's get started here. Matter, atoms, elements, and molecules. Now what matter is everything around you. Tell me in the chat box, what is something that is currently around you? So for example, right now I have a notebook in front of me. Tell me in the chat box, something currently around you. Yes, TV, laptop, air, dog, food, bed, phone, blanket, pen and paper, annoying sister, soda can, chips, water bottle, lizard, paper kitty, pencil, baby brother, literally everything. Belle, the cat, yes, the new kitten, your dog, Charisse. Awesome. All of those things are made of matter. So matter is everything around you that is made of atoms and has mass, right? So yes, a paper kitty, books, laptop, all of those things are made of atoms. All of them have mass, which mass is similar to weight. Okay, so when we talk about mass, we're thinking similar to weight. Okay, so this means water, soil, air that you breathe is actually made of atoms. It actually does have mass, even though it's a very tiny amount of mass. The people around you, the sun itself is made of atoms and has mass. Give me a smiley face if that makes sense. Use your smiley face menu, smiley face if all of that makes sense. Looking good. Awesome. Jasmine, I will put the attendance ticket link and password into the main chat box. So jump back over to the main chat and there it is for you. Cool. All right. Now, that being said, if you break matter down to its smallest piece, that is what is called an atom. So an atom is a building block of matter, and it's the smallest unit that is still a complete unit of matter. Meaning, if you tried to break it down even further, it would no longer be a complete unit of matter. Okay, so we'll take a look at that a little bit later. Okay, so protons and neutrons, what you can see here. All right, so this is an atom, the smallest unit of complete matter. In the center, you can see that there is this clump of particles, and that is what's called the nucleus. This clump is called the nucleus. It's made up of positive protons and neutral neutrons. What charge is neutral? Tell me in the chat box. What charge is neutral? What does the word neutral mean? Tell me in the chat box. Use your context clues, use your understanding of vocabulary. What charge, give me a number, what charge is neutral? What charge is neutral? Awesome. I see an answer from Ashton, from Alyssa. Awesome. Yes, it's going to be 0, right? So neutrons have no charge. They have 0 charge. So protons, +1, neutrons, 0, and electrons are going to be these outermost ones. These have a -1 charge, and they are orbiting or spinning around the nucleus. Okay, give me a LOL face from your smiley face menu if that makes sense. LOL face. It's that first box underneath your name. Perfect. Love it. Okay, guys, so this is the answer to question number 1 in your attendance ticket. Again, that link and password is in the chat box. Number 1, you need to type in the word nucleus, and it should automatically save. If it doesn't, make sure you get it saved. You guys have 30 seconds. Give me a green check once you have it saved. Go, 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 everyone. All right, just waiting on a few more green checks. So Adriana, Allie, Amaris, Angelina, Annika, Annalise. Let's see here. Chanel, Charisse, Crystal Lynn, Demetrius, Eric, Gabe, Gabriel, Haley, Haley W, Jacob, Jackie, John, Juliana, Carrie, Kevin, Roy, Sarah, and Ty. Green checks, please. Elijah, password is in the chat box for you. Hi Josh, welcome to class. Please open up your attendance ticket. Link is there in the chat box, as well as the password for the attendance ticket. All right, Elijah, do you see it? It's that last bullet point that I just pasted into the chat box. Just check the chat box. Thank you. All right, guys, so that being said, guys, if we take a bunch of atoms and the same type of atoms and we put them all together, that's what's called an element. So an element is just any chemical substance that if you keep on breaking it down, you just break it down into more of that chemical substance, okay? So you can't actually change it into a different type of chemical. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Use your smiley face menu, thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay, so you can't break it down into something else. So for example, if you take a look here at gold, right, if I take some pure gold and I break it down into smaller pieces, eventually you'll see little atoms of gold. But if you keep on breaking that down, you only end up with a single gold atom. So you keep on breaking it down, it still stays the same thing, therefore it is an element. Okay, so I can go ahead and show you this, an example of this really quick. Okay, where did my bottle just go? Sorry guys, hold on. All right, smiley faces if you can see my video here. Yay, looking good. Okay. All right, guys. So here we go. So if you take a look at this right here, imagine that this is all of my gold. If I break it in half, okay, is this still gold? If I break these in half, is it still gold? Yes, totally. What about if I take this group and break it in half again? Is this still gold? Totally. And if I break this into half, what is this? Is this still gold? Yes, exactly. If I take this one, break it in half, are these still gold? I feel like you guys understand this. Awesome. And what is this right here? This is a single what of gold. This is a single what of gold. Yes, it's a single atom of gold. Now, let's say I tried to cut this single atom of gold in half. Would it still be gold then? Would it still be a complete unit of gold? Okay, let's take a look at this, guys. Here's my atom of gold. If I were to look at the whiteboard, if I were to try to cut this in half, do you guys think it would still actually be gold? No, it would not. In fact, you would actually cause an explosion. Okay, if you tried to cut this atom of gold in half, you would probably cause an explosion and it would no longer be gold. That's why atoms, take a look at the whiteboard, that is why atoms are the smallest unit of complete matter. Smiley faces if that makes sense. Complete matter. Meaning if you try to break them in half, they're no longer that thing. Awesome, guys. So matter, everything around you, atoms, a building block, elements, several of the same type of atom. Several of the same type of atom. Perfect. Okay, moving on, guys. So here's the next thing. I'm going to pause my video really quickly. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so pausing my video for a moment. Oh no, I definitely just lost an atom on the ground. My daughter's totally going to eat that later. Okay. Ashton, we'll learn a little bit later, but when you try to break atoms apart, they release a ton of energy, and that is what causes an explosion. So for example, a nuclear bomb, which is very explosive, is doing exactly that. It's breaking apart an atom. Okay, does that make sense? Again, we'll talk about it a little bit more later in the quarter, but that's what we're looking at. Cool. Okay, guys. So the next thing is if you take different types of atoms, so you take one or two atoms, and you try to connect them, they're going to form what are called molecules. And molecules are going to act unique from their individual atoms. So for example, water is very different from hydrogen and oxygen on its own. And you can see an example of water over here. How many hydrogens and oxygens are there in water? Tell me in the chat box. What's the chemical formula for water? Do we know? You can either tell me the formula or tell me how many hydrogens and oxygens there are. Yeah, the chemical formula is H2O, which means there's 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. We can see that right here. 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen. Now, they are being held together, and it's because of these bonds that hold them together that they act very different from their individual parts, right? Think about this idea of the sum is greater than its parts, right? When you put things together, they act differently. Okay, and this happens because they actually share electrons with each other. Remember, electrons are the things on the outside of the atoms, and you can literally see how they are actually holding electrons with each other. Smiley faces if that makes sense. Smiley faces if that makes sense. How you can see that there. Perfect, looking good. All right, let me go ahead and show you this to you again. All right, guys, once more, smiley faces if you can see my video. I can't even see my video. There we go. Okay. Looking good. All right, let me go ahead and move this here again. Perfect. Okay, so for example, this right here is water, right? So you can actually see my blue oxygen and my 2 white hydrogens right here. Okay, so this is water right here. If I were to take just an individual hydrogen or an individual oxygen, these would act very differently. So for example, hydrogen by itself, okay, is a gas, okay, that can explode very easily if it's lit on fire. Does water explode easily if it's lit on fire? No, definitely not. Oxygen, on the other hand, oxygen is actually also a gas, okay? And oxygen, when it gets lit on fire, it burns very well, right? So it doesn't exactly explode, but it still burns very nicely. Same thing though, does water do that? Does water generally exist as a gas and burns really well? No, so in general, water actually acts like what? Okay, it's not a gas. Instead, usually water is what? At room temperature, water is a what? It's not a gas. Yeah, it's a liquid. So usually at room temperature, this one is going to be a liquid. We can obviously turn it into gas if we get it really hot and boil it, right? But generally it acts as a liquid. So it acts different from its parts. Smiley faces if that makes sense. Okay, once you start making bonds and molecules, they begin to act differently. Yeah, exactly. So the sum, oh my gosh, I dropped another one. So many choking hazards. So the sum of the parts is going to be bigger than the parts by themselves. Okay? Cool, guys. Let's go ahead. I'm going to keep on going here. So here's the deal, guys. We are looking at things that are very, very small. Think about right here. This is you as a human. Break it down, getting smaller and smaller. Do you guys remember learning about cells in biology? Cells in biology. Do you guys remember learning about those? Yeah, we're actually looking at stuff that's even smaller than your cells, though. We're breaking those down even further into these very, very smallest stuff, right? So atoms are the building blocks of all matter in our universe. Then it's molecules. Later on, we'll even learn about macromolecules, which macro just means big molecules. But again, we are looking at the smallest stuff, even smaller than cells. Smiley faces if that makes sense. We're teeny tiny this quarter. Teeny, teeny, tiny. Perfect. Okay. Let's go ahead on the whiteboard. Please match these up. Let me know that this all makes sense. You guys have 30 seconds. Get your answers on the whiteboard, please. Go, go, go. Use the line tool. It's the third line, tool up from the bottom of your tools. You can use any color, but please don't use red, and please don't use really thick lines. Yes, exactly, Wynn. That is exactly why it's called an atom bomb. Or the atomic bomb, exactly. Yes, Ashton, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I'm glad you left biology knowing one thing. No, I'm sure you left knowing more than the one thing, but that's definitely a really big thing, right? Okay, pausing your tools in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh, guys, it looks beautiful. I can't see anything, though. You guys are just way too on top of it. Hold on. Let me shrink this a little bit. Clean it up, and then we'll go over the answers. Get your mouses ready. This is going to be number 2 in your attendance ticket, so get this ready. Okay, so matter. Yes, anything that is made of atoms and has mass is considered matter. It's everything around you guys. The atom, on the other hand, is the smallest unit that is still considered matter. Okay? A molecule, though, is when we take 2 or more of those atoms and we link them together with shared electrons to create a unique substance. Like hydrogen and oxygen can be bonded to create water, which is totally unique. And an element is when we have many atoms that can't be broken down into different substances. Okay? Awesome. Give yourself a round of applause from the smiley face menu. You guys did awesome on that. Yes, great job. It looked so beautiful. So beautiful. All right, this is number 2. Give me a green check when you have number 2 saved in your attendance ticket. You guys have 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. All right, still waiting on a few more green checks. No worries, I'll give you a few more seconds. Don't worry. Crystal, again, the password is in the chat box. It's right underneath the link that I sent you. Make sure you spell it correctly and only use lowercase letters. Okay, if you're still having trouble getting in, no worries, let me know. I can help you out with that. And again, anyone, I always recommend write down the password for the day just in case you accidentally lose your work. You can still get into it later and just use the recording to finish your attendance ticket. As long as you have the password, you can still finish the attendance ticket with the recording later. But again, you have to make sure you write down that password. Okay? So come to class, make sure you get the password. Awesome, looking good. Still waiting on green checks from Alex, Amaris, Angelina, Brendan, let's see here, Daphne, Demetrius, Money Mike, Eric, Gabe, Gabriel, Haley W, India, Jacob, Jalen, Jasmine, Johnny, Josh, and let's see here, Kevin A, Kevin W, Marcus, Nathan, Nina, Ricky, Roy, and Ty. All right, looking good, guys. Okay, so that being said, we talked about matter, atoms, and molecules and elements today. I'm going to go ahead and skip this really quickly. Here's the deal, guys. Your attendance ticket that you are about to finish literally has all of the answers to your quiz. So I'm sending you the link to the quiz right now. Make sure you finish the quiz right away, okay? But have it open side by side. Quiz on one side, attendance ticket on the other, because all the answers are in your attendance ticket. They're in the yellow boxes that we went through in class. Smiley faces if that makes sense, okay? All quiz answers are in the attendance ticket. Okay, so it's super easy as long as you do them at the same time. Love it. You guys are great. Here's your last word, and I will see you all later. Have a wonderful day. Let me know if